Hello and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking. Thank you for watching the last video. This video is going to be a Q&A, basically following on from last video. I asked you on Instagram what you wanted me to answer, and I'm going to be answering them in this video. So one person said, a bit more details step by step. The first property we viewed was a one-bedroom property, and we actually liked it kind of 50%. It was okay, but as we could afford it, we did contemplate putting down an offer, but we had like 5 or 6 different viewings to attend. We viewed a second property, which was a one-bedroom, I think a one-bedroom apartment, but that one was really far from the station, didn't like it. We viewed a couple of other properties which we kind of liked, kind of didn't. And then, funny story, I was driving past this property with my sister on the way to view another property, and I said to her, ideally, in an ideal world, this is the type of property that we'd wanna live in, but I don't think we can afford it. We don't have the funds. Like, I just wish we could live here, but it's okay. Let's go to this other viewing. Went to the other viewing. I wasn't even interested in looking. I didn't even bother looking at this property because I knew it was above our price range. And then, just for bants, I saw an ad for apartment in this building. So I looked and I thought, oh, actually, it's not too bad. I mean, we could probably just about swing it. And then we viewed the property, but unfortunately there were 8 other interests, and we didn't even get a chance to offer because it was taken off the market straight away. And then this property became available along with 2 other properties in this building. So we viewed the property, let's say on day 1, we made an offer on day 2, and then we were sent like this link which showed us where you ranked in terms of who made the highest offer, who was most likely to get accepted. And I think at the end of the second day, we were ranked first. And then, our offer got accepted essentially, and we got an email saying that your offer for the house had been accepted. If you wish to, go ahead with the sale, we had to put a deposit, I think, of £400, whilst they did like checks, which we would get back after the sale was completed. So we paid the deposit, and then our place was secured, I guess. And then they did a basic affordability test, which is where they asked for all our pay slips and our bank statements, I think 4 months worth, and then they ran through the system. I don't know what they did, and then they used that to determine whether or not we could afford the property. It came back positive, we could afford the property, and then we were able to move on to the next step. After that was done, we received our memorandum of sale, and then we had to instruct solicitors. So we instruct our solicitors, and at the same time our mortgage broker had started our mortgage application. In all honesty, the stuff with the broker really didn't take that long. The mortgage application didn't take long. It didn't take long for us to get our mortgage offer. It didn't take long for the broker to do what he had to do. The thing that took the longest time was our solicitors, and I think it's just because of the other side, the other party, and also maybe just things take more time. So we were initially told that from the moment we make an offer to the moment we move in, it'd be 12 months. So we had planned for that. But they also said to us, don't make any arrangement to move out. Don't make any arrangements to, have anything delivered or anything like that until you've exchanged. And of course, I didn't really listen because we'd already started buying stuff and just stocking it at my mum's house. When it came to exchange, which is basically, when you know that things have been finalized and you can exchange contracts and it has a date of completion. Completion is the day that, you get the key and the sale goes through. Well, you get the keys and the other party gets the funds, basically. It just kept getting delayed. So we were initially told that, we're ready to exchange in September. So I think it was like the 10th of September, but then there was a delay. Then it was, we can exchange mid-September, another delay, until we only exchanged just before Christmas, which was a little bit annoying because we'd already told our family, oh no, we're moving out in September, it's going to be exciting, woo woo woo. Then it was, hey guys, so we're not moving out this week, we'll be moving out next week. Then it was, oh actually guys, we're not going to move out. And it was annoying, and it also meant that all the stuff we had bought couldn't go to the new property, but thankfully we stored it at my mother's house, which is not that far from, the house that we live in now. And I now understand why they said don't make any plans until you've exchanged, because it's not until you've exchanged that you know your completion date and you know what date you'll actually get the keys and what days you'll move in. But all in all, it was a positive experience, and it actually made us realize that buying a property isn't as complicated as it sounds, if you know what I mean. Of course, it's a big purchase, but if you have the funds and you have the patience, you hire and you instruct your solicitors or conveyors and you have a mortgage broker or a bank or building society, whoever you go to, it's actually quite a straightforward process. It's actually quite, there are steps that are followed. There's not that much, room for, I don't know what you call it. It's just a very straightforward process. It's just that, and it's done. It's just, I guess, as the home buyer, sometimes you are a little bit anxious and you want things to move a bit faster. We got the keys in early January. Even that date was moved twice. We got the keys in early January, and then yeah, that's it. Any tips on buying your furniture? Good places to go. Furniture. What did we buy our furniture? Good place for furniture. I'll say try IKEA. We bought our desk chair from IKEA. We bought the bed for the spare living. We bought the bed for the second bedroom from IKEA. IKEA is a good place. The Range is a good place. Wayfair is a good place. And then try small furniture stores in your neighborhood. I don't know if it's worth it, but we found that some small furniture in your neighborhood has really nice stuff, and not that expensive sometimes. But then again, you do get really, really expensive stuff. What else? B&M is a gem. Like when I tell you it's a gem, we got quite a few bits from B&M, and go there, you'll surprise yourself. There's really, really nice stuff. It's really, really affordable, and it's just nice. What's your plan? Our plan with the house in terms of furniture was, let's buy all the big expensive stuff before we move in, so that we don't have to think about, mortgage, bills, and also big expenditure. So we bought our TV before we moved in. We ordered our bed before we moved in. We ordered the stand for the TV before we moved in. We sorted our laptops, computers before we moved in. What else did we sort out? Yes, we bought our dining room table before we moved in, and then we also bought just like duvets, pillows, just anything we could buy before we moved in. We did it because we knew that once you move in, we're gonna have to once we move in, we'd have to think about all the other expenses. And our plan was, as soon as we move in, get the basics done, and then just give ourselves a year to make this house a home. So every time we go out shopping, we find something nice, buy one thing. And I think it's more realistic to focus on one room at a time. So you say, at least in my head, we'll do the living room, so we'll buy this and then we'll buy that. And you just spread it over. You're supposed to move in and then say, right, so I need to spend £3,000 on, decorating this house into what I want it to be. It does take time. Our plan was just move in, have the basics ready, and then just buy as you go. I'll tell you what question we asked and the thing that was important to me. So things that I get cold really easy, I'm always cold. So I just want to know, does the house run cold or warm? So because the floor is mainly carpet, this house is warm all the time, which is good for me. The pressure of the shower was important to me, and how hot the water gets. Because I don't know if your house is like this, but some houses, when you turn on the hot water, it goes from like 0 to 1,000 in like 10 seconds, and there's no in between. You're just boiling, or that's it. And it's like the hot water is here and the cold water is there. There's not like the one in between. You know what I'm talking about? That was really important to me. I didn't want a tap that had two things. I wanted a tap that was just one, and I can control the heat. I wanted a shower that's nice. I wanted a shower and a bath. But things like double glazed window, they normally advertise. When you search for property, it will usually tell you where there's double glazed window. It usually tells you the stuff that, the selling points on the side. One thing that's important is, well, to me again, is to find out whether you get this is so sad, to find out whether you get the sun, because this apartment, we get the morning sun. So if I'm on the balcony, I get the sun till noon, and then at 1 o'clock it goes to the other side of the property, and we don't get the sun directly at us, which doesn't seem like a big thing. But when we're in lockdown and we're home all day, I want to be in the balcony with the sun just like beaming at me. I wanted to know about storage spaces, because I wanted a property that had like a lot of storage, like in the kitchen and also around the house, just because I just have a lot of stuff and he has a lot of stuff, and it's just better for us to have a property that has a lot of storage potential. We asked about parking. Unfortunately, the property that we live in, we only have one parking space, and everybody else has to park on the main road, which doesn't seem like a big deal, apart from the fact that the main road is mainly double yellow lines, and then you can only park like if you go at the bottom of the road and turn left and turn right and so that's a really down part. We don't have visitors parking bay, which is really annoying, and we don't have a a designated space for anybody else to park. We just have one parking space for us with a parking permit. But you would know that before you even visited the property. If in doubt, Google questions to ask when viewing a property, and they literally have tailor-made lists for flats, new builds, old builds, freeholds, leasehold. They have loads of lists you can look through and just pick out the one that you think matter, and pick out the one that are appropriate to your situation, and just bring that with you to the viewing and just ask it before you commit to anything. What was the most difficult part? One difficulty that we did actually come across was, if you are going to get gifts, the difficulty we faced with that was that when we had to show where our funds were coming from, and they wanted to see our bank accounts, X, Y, and Z, they said any funds that was over a certain amount, let's say £200, any funds that was over a certain amount that was transferred into your account that you're planning to use for deposit, they need to see where that money had come from. And imagine we had like different people sending us money. They wanted to see where exactly that money had come from. They wanted to be able to trace it, which meant that they wanted the person's bank statements, and they asked for a clear trace of where that money had come from. So they wanted that person's bank statement and to see when they received the money, where it came from, was it a legitimate source, and then it come into my account. Where the difficulty lied was that, say if person A had sent us £500, but they had received that money from somewhere else, they would also want that person's bank statement. That was the most difficult thing, because we felt like it was violating people's privacy, and it was just difficult. And you know, if you're going to receive any gift from your family members or your parents, just ensure that you receive that gift at least, like at the very least, 4 months before you start the house buying process, so that it's not going to be in question. Some banks are actually okay with gifts. Some banks are okay if your parents give you a gift. Some banks are okay if your grandparents give you a gift. Some banks are not okay if your grandparents give you a gift. They only accept gifts from your parents. So it's just safer to receive the gifts a lot earlier, as opposed to getting it just before you, just before you start the process, or as you started the process. Should you wait to have your full deposit before starting to view places? We waited to have our full deposit before we started to view places, and I'll tell you why. Because you don't know how quickly things are gonna go. The first property that we viewed, they were ready to like start the process and complete the whole sale within 8 weeks, because the person had moved out, the property was vacant, and it was quite an easy sale. And then also, in addition to that, you don't just need your 10% deposit, or you don't just need the deposit. You also need money for, your broker. You also need money for valuations. You also need money for the legal fees. There's just so many other costs that you need to take into account. How long was the process? The process was supposed to be 3 months, but it actually ended up being 8 months or 7 months. Let's say 7.5 months. What was the home buying process like? The home buying process was okay. It was fine. It was just, I think once you have the funds and you've passed all those checks, you've had your offer accepted, and they've done all the checks and it's fine. The rest is just a waiting game, and then there's obviously things in between, but the rest was actually fine. The only stressful part was just the beginning, like making an offer and getting it accepted, passing the affordability test, getting a mortgage. Getting a mortgage offer. Once all that was done, and we also got insurance, but once all that was done, the rest was just a waiting game. So I would say the process was okay. It was just long. It was long. We were constantly checking our emails to see if we had any new correspondence, constantly chasing solicitors to see if there was any updates. We were supposed to have access to this space online where we could track the process of our sale. We could track where we were, what the next step was, what we needed, and we were just able to just look at that and know where in the sale we were, and we wouldn't have to chase our solicitors. But unfortunately, they never set that up, so we had to just keep calling them, emailing them, but it didn't put a damper on the whole situation. It was actually fine. We were just excited and impatient, and we were also going based off the initial timescale, which was 3 months. So I think that's why we were a bit impatient, but I think it's fine. I think you have to just give yourself time. How much did you save? We saved 10% of the value of the property before viewing the properties, but in the end, we actually put an extra £3,000 or £4,000 towards the deposit, which was actually quite good. House tour. Did you buy a house or a flat? Did you buy it in London? We bought an apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment just outside London. Thank you so much for watching my video. As always, if you have any questions, just leave them a comment below or DM me on Instagram. But until I see you again, thank you for stopping by.